Peace, love, and bliss. This is my third attempt at this presentation. Okay, a lot of the family that was with us during the first presentation, obviously they're gone, but we're going to ride the wave anyway because this will also be hosted on YouTube as well. So peace, love, and bliss, family. This is the young Caribbean god, Saya-Mun-Ra. You know, many know me by Jawish. And this presentation is going to be about the Black Woman Is God. Now, I know this concept alone, to just say that alone already strike a lot of man in the chest. Why? Because the ego and their religious indoctrination have actually esteemed the woman to be below them. Right? So anytime you come across and you say to somebody the Black Woman Is God, they'll be like, what? But if you tell them God is a man, everyone is like, okay, you know, everyone is okay with that. So we've been saying God is a man for the past 2,000 years. I think only the Rastafari family that has really said, you know, since they really attribute God Almighty to being King Selassie, his wife being Empress Menen, they try to attribute that balance to her, showing that goddess aspect. But it is a monotheistic religion in itself, and all monotheistic religions, okay, degrade the feminine energy. So having been brought up in this, you know, no one, I mean, we don't want to say that our parents are liars and that their grandparents are liars, because that is where the understanding we have of God came from, which is our present perception of God. Look it right there. You know, I mean, being black, obviously, we will not see him as a white man. Some black people still see him like he's a white man. Don't know what I'm doing, really. But as Marcus Garvey said, all nations seeing God in their own image, apart from the black race. When I did the research before we conducted the lecture, The Truth About Jesus Christ, I got so many different illustrations and pictures of different ethnicities, races, what Jesus would look like. You know what I mean? About 30 of them. So every race is trying to make God look like themselves, but the black race. Rastafari did it, but the only problem is all of the races, their God, you can't see it. But the fact that you could have seen the individual, the Rastafarian deemed as God was a major problem for a lot of people. Okay? So the present understanding we have of God is this man in the sky, this bearded man in the sky. Okay? Enough people, enough Christians, I mean, that's a come on. You know, the Bible will tell you even the hand of God, wrote the commandments, and then, God walked through the garden. So God is a man, really. So according to biblical doctrine, this religious corpuses, God is actually a man, and since he's not present, and they say he's in heaven, and many deem heaven as being in the sky above, will hold to the concept and the present perception of God being this man, bearded old man in the sky watching everything you do, which obviously will, condemn you to hell if you don't listen to what it says, right? So this is our present perception of God. So where did this perception came from? Because remember, for some reason, they do not teach anything past slavery in our educational institutions to our children. Okay? So we don't know anything past slavery. Can anyone tell me what we used to worship, or what gods we used to worship, or what did we actually used to do before slavery? I'm actually speaking to the Christians right now. Right? You don't actually know, so stands to reason that this present perception we have of God was introduced to us at this point, being that at the transatlantic slave trade. I mean, I wasn't actually there for the sub-Saharan slave trade, which was years before the transatlantic slave trade, but it was on the offset of these incidents, you can see, these catastrophes that befell our race, that we were introduced to this present perception of God. So from time you only want to see God as a man, and yeah, he's a man and everything, that actually came from a Greco-Roman perception, which is patriarchal. So anytime you talk about being a patriot and being patriarch, you talk about just being man, just man alone, and woman and the man, and then, because mind you, again, that is how it is within the religious corpus. There is a hierarchy system because the woman have to submit to man, and then the man is under Christ, and then Christ now under God. The same thing we have with the slave. The slave have to be slave under the master, and then the master under Christ, and then Christ to God. You see it? So within these monotheistic religions, God is solely a man. Mind you, when you also conduct the research, this monotheistic God of the Old Testament, Yahweh, right, has a wife that you have never heard of if you don't do the research. Okay? So let me just hide this instruction right here. You know. So the first being, so while God is a man, the first being created by this God is also a man. Can anyone attest to this? I mean, anyone who reads the Bible knows what I'm saying. You get me? And as I said, this perception is patriarchal and was introduced to us by our enslavers, which are the Greco-Romans. Not that I'm excluding the Spaniards and the French as well. Okay, family? So right now we have the religious degradation of the feminine within Christianity and Judaism. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, it said, woman not made equal, but as a helpmate to man. So if you esteem this Bible as the inerrant word of God, the infallible word of God, and this sort of text is inscribed within such document, how can you have respect for our women when you do not even see them as being equal? Which is why I have a problem in understanding people who subscribe to this Bible. When I bring up the notion that the black woman is God, want to tell me no, the black woman is not God, and the man and the woman is equal. Some of them are truly honest, but some of them really is the ego in them talking. You get me? The ego in them not talking because they can't see somehow the woman above them, but they can see them above the woman. Okay? So if you subscribe to and believe Moses gave you the first 5 books of the Bible in Genesis, woman is not made equal to man. In Genesis chapter 13, it goes on to say the curse of conception in pain, right? Menstruation and the man to rule over her. So the woman's curse, according to religion, monotheistic religion family, the curse of the black woman is menstruation. I need you to get that straight. If you do not believe me, go in any dictionary, take your phone or whatever it is you have, and go to a dictionary and type up the definition of curse. Okay? And when you get the definition of curse, don't just take the first thing they give you. Open up the page and scroll down. And I'm sure within the between the 4th and 6th definition of curse, you will get menstruation. So the goddess says, what do you have to say about that? I told you I'm giving you back the phone today. Okay? But you must abandon. I don't really want to say abandon because some people, like, they're so attached to this book, yo. You understand? You have to unlearn and relearn if you really want to hold on to it. If you don't want to do that, just let it go. Because this book in no way promotes the equality of our feminine energy. And without the feminine energy, where would we be? Okay? And that's what we're going to get into. So, even in Genesis chapter 19, Lot, I'm sure many of my Bible people, for those who don't know, There were three individuals who visited Abraham in the desert. Some individuals say those three individuals is actually God as the Trinity. And then two of the individuals left. One stayed with Abraham, and two of them left and went to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, and apparently they went to Lot. Um, um, they went to Lot, right, to his place, and he let them in. And the strangers or the mob of the town, because remember it's Sodom and Gomorrah, so if man come and knock on your door, just know he's party man and lesbian and all kind of things are going on, the transvestite and all kind of people come and knock on the man door. A mob, right? Come and knock on the man door, tell the man, the two people, the two angels of God or whatever that just enter your place, send them outside for us. That's what they tell the man. That's what they tell Lot. You know, Lot said, as a I send them outside, look, I have two virgins there, you can have them instead. So what does this mean? This means that women were deemed nothing more than stock, than there's a word for it, than the spoils of war. You understand? Woman was not considered equal to man, hence why he could even conceive or think to give up his virgin daughters to this mob of homosexuals and transvestites. What are you thinking, Lot? All for two men? And for them two men, if it's God that for them two men could have just go outside and bring him out. No, but it would be like they had to have a reasoning and then some of them leave and everybody say, and Abraham say, well, if it's 10 men not there or 50 men not there, if you go bring the case, if it's 40 men, it's like a game. You understand? Like the whole Bible to me right now is just a game. Even the whole bet with God and Satan against Job is just a game. So for those of you who are not seeing that, I really want to hold fixed to his religion. I'm not attacking. This isn't a diatribe against your belief system. Okay? I'm just attacking the religious institution and the individuals that are responsible for superimposing this thing upon us. And through an acculturation process, okay, we now think that this shit is ours. Okay, family? So have a look at them verses there. Let me just see the one to join that. So in Numbers chapter 31, Israel is ordered to kill all men and women, but keep the virgins as stock. Is that respect for the feminine energy? Is that respect from the God of the Bible for the feminine energy? I don't think so. And in the first Corinthians, he said that the head of the woman is the man. We already went through this. Islam is no different from Christianity in regards to the degradation of the feminine energy. Muhammad's wife, Aisha, was only 6 when he wed her, and he slept with her when she was 9. Family, what do you think about that? For those of you who think, okay, let me leave Christianity and run to Islam because, I mean, at the offset, those of us who were beginning to awake, okay, will sort of be damned if we had anything to do with Christianity, seeing that it was a white God being presented to us. So quite a few of us, some in the Caribbean and mostly in the Americas as well, a lot of us went to Islam because we saw for certain that the slave master was not worshiping no Arabic gods. You should get. So some of us really think, even presently right now in St. Lucia, I'm seeing a lot of young men going to Islam. I mean, on one hand, give thanks that you get in some form of spiritual discipline, okay, because some individuals actually need that, seeing that the family unit has been crumbled, right? But in regards to the truth, Islam is no different from Christianity. Okay? Now, mind you, when Muhammad sleeps with Aisha, he is 54 years old and she is 9. I don't even think she has seen her first menstruation cycle yet. What do you think about that, family? Okay? In the Quran, Surah chapter 4, verse 129, You will not be able to treat your wives with absolute justice, it says. In chapter 4, it says, Allah commands you to beat women if you fear them to be rebellious. Okay? So you have authority from this Arabic deity to actually beat your women. Why do you think women are so covered up in Islam? Why do you think women are so covered up here and the men can just free up themselves? Huh? It is showing again that hierarchy. Okay? And in Al-Tabari Volume 1, which is one of the writings in the Arabia Fusha, Allah made Eve bleed once every month, and he also made her stupid. And in the Bukhari it says there are evil women in three things: the horse, the woman, and the house. So I don't get why we still have black women going to these religions. I don't get it. Well, obviously, I mean, some of them don't know this information and they only see the face value, okay, of the religion. It's just like when you go to the supermarket, you know, and they have the poisons in nice wrappers with all the colors and everything. It's just like the religions. You get the impression that it's all holy and you go in and you bow in how many times for it touching the ground, and you know, if you're Catholic or whatever, you have to pay homage to Jesus Christ. When all of these things were introduced to us by, okay, our enslavers, foreign individuals, okay, so we've been subjected to their perception and their principles, religious principles, and we now, having taken it on for so long, even now think it's our own, and see, we're even practicing it better, you know, than those that give it to us. Why you want to practice it better? Not even them that give it to us. They're not even our thing. Is they that give it to us? So why you even want to practice it better? You understand what I'm saying? So these religions, as Dr. Clark said, religion is the definition of a people's culture. So we are Melanin Empire. We are against joining any religion. It is about the knowledge of self. I mean, if it so happens that you actually had to go through these transitions, I mean, myself, I grew up being a Catholic, you know, and then just coming across this white God, actually left that and went to Rastafari, because while many of us came to this little awakening and saw that, you know, it's not a white God, and we went to Islam, a lot of us here in the Caribbean, Rastafari was our only other option. You get me? So we went down that route. You understand? So first being Catholic, first being Rastafari, and now just a woke like me. You understand? So I give thanks for all my transitions, but during this time, presently during this time of awakening, we don't even need to go through all these steps. The information is right there, you know. Although right now, because the elites are seeing how this information is getting out there, and the Son of God is really having an effect on mankind, and this transition is really happening. You know, they're trying all ways and means to interrupt. This is like my fourth broadcast. I mean, you know, let me just see what's going on there. I just wake up with a rambling on and see the family still with me. Don't know if my life still going on. Yeah, just see what I give thanks and winter more. You 10 months, so I bet yourself. Give thanks, my brother. Yeah, give thanks for just a couple of bedroom with us still. Don't mind. Man say two chasing down 10,000. Not that they say in the same Bible. But yeah, let me continue with the presentation. Wait, from current slide. Yes. So Islam is no different from Christianity. You understand? So we can see how these religions actually perceive women, but it's sort of an undertone in what they teach. So you really have to be really digging into things to come across this sort of information. Okay? Let's have a look at those individuals who call themselves the children of Israel or the Hebrew Israelites. Anyone can remember this scene in the movie? This was when we left Egypt, right? And the slaves left Egypt, and I think this was the time when Moses went up into the mountain. He went to speak to God or the bush or whatever it was, and he was gone for so long that the people were troubling Aaron to produce an idol for them. Like Aaron, come on, yeah. So like our leader go in the mountain, silly day that one go in the mountain. I feel I'm spending probably about 40 days in the mountain. I too sure. I stand corrected. You go in the mountain so long, the people are waiting for you down there. You check it without direction, without nothing, just bringing people from Egypt. According to the story, because this is all fiction, family, you bring the people down and you just go and disappear on the people. So if you tell Aaron, because Aaron is next in line again, hierarchy, next in line to Moses. Aaron, give us a God to worship. Because you see that thing Moses on there, we don't know if that man died, we don't know if God just take that man, we don't know what's going on up there. You shake it? So Moses telling people, well, give me all the gold and everything you have, and I'll make something for you. Mind you, these are slaves. Okay? Slaves. Where stays getting all that gold? Right? All that gold to make a golden calf like that, family. That just not making no sense to me. You are slaves working according to your building the pyramids, although we know for sure, those that are woke knows that the pyramid wasn't built during the time, even the alleged time that a sort of individuals referred to as the Hyksos occupied Kemet, that place called Egypt today. There was no grand exodus, okay? But we're just going along the story just to show the ridiculousness, if that's a word, within the story. Western's getting all that gold to build such a golden calf. And then according to them, that is idol worship, right? But mind you, they just came from Egypt. So if Aaron is building a God for y'all, all what y'all know, the knowledge y'all know is of Egypt. Right or wrong? So all the knowledge y'all know is of Egypt. So in all the gods they have to build, you're building the golden calf, you're building a calf, a cow, whatever you want to call it. Some men will say heifer or whatever, right? A cow you're building. What is the significance of that cow? And then now you want to call it idol worship. It wasn't idol worship when you was doing it in Egypt. Huh? If you all deemed it as idol worship, okay, why is it now that Egypt, when times hard, is that you're looking to? So showing this is not idol worship. This is an attempt for the monotheistic religions, the Eurocentric perceptions of spirituality, to demonize our culture. Okay? Because even when Moses now come down from the mountain, when he see the people worshiping the golden calf, Moses tell them, burn the calf. The man gets screwed, the man even smash and break the commandments. They just God according to the story. I like to say according to the story, because we mustn't forget. Those who listen and think, we always have to say this before people go too much with the flow and think like it's something real. According, allegedly, fictitiously, when Moses came down from the mountain, he saw the calf. After God just finished take all his precious time to write, I don't know if he's inclusive or whatever, the commandment. The man just come out with the commandments. You break the commandments because you're so screwed. I think that's why they call him the first law breaker. Really? You understand? So the man so screwed and say, well, I didn't burn the calf. I didn't burn the calf. You check it? But the calf now, remember they came from Kemet, Egypt, right? The calf now is a representation of the goddess Hathor in her zoomorphic representation as a cow goddess. A lot of my family know this, but for those who don't know, right? For those who don't know, you understand? And even as a refresher, because repetition is key. Okay, so The cow goddess is a representation of the deity, the undifferentiated attribute of the divine consciousness represented as the feminine aspect through the zoomorphic representation of cow. Why the cow? Because of its milk. I mean, mankind living on cow's milk. You understand? But the understanding of the nourishment that that milk carries for the young, okay, which I believe are within most mammals, also happens within the feminine aspect of the woman caring for the young. So the the ancestors, okay, displayed or configured or transmuted that understanding, that idea, okay, within that hieroglyph or that zoomorphic representation. This is how deep our ancestors understood things, family. This is not made, this is not no little, this is deep spirituality, family. But then the monotheistic religions are trying to demonize your culture, which is why when, according to the story, allegedly fictitiously, when they came out of Egypt and they asked Aaron for a god, they erected the mother goddess. And Hathor is a representation of motherhood, of beauty, of joy, of love, right? Of fertility. You understand? So that is what they erected. But then partner so screw when he come down, he ordered them to move it. Okay? So we're basically just showing how they demonize the feminine energy. I didn't really want to touch on that Dr. Greg thing there. You know, I will take you straight into the source. So the Black woman is God. Again, my first two presentations were interrupted. When I tell a lot of men that, especially those within the Christian perception of things, they'll be like, the Black woman is God. And also those with an egotistical mindset, the first thing you'll hear him say is like, the woman of God is man that's God and the woman is goddess. That's the first thing you'll see. But the word goddess wasn't created until the 13th century, I think around 1350 thereabouts. So what was the woman referred to before? Are you getting me, family? What was the woman referred to before 1350? She was referred to as God because the word or the term, the noun God, is a neuter noun. It could be applied to both the masculine and the feminine principle. So when we say the Black woman is God, we're not saying anything pseudo, which is a word they have going around, flying around these days, left, right, and center. And anybody that trying to use that word pseudo on something they do not understand, you're too much on the Greek dick, straight up. Yeah, I don't know if Facebook does allow that kind of language. I don't care that tonight. Yeah, I mean, I want the presentation to go through, right? Because again, it still has to be uploaded on YouTube. Big up to the YouTube subscribers. I know it's been a little while we shoot a video. We still have a natural adventure to show the family still, you know, so that's going to be uploaded on the channel. Those watching on Facebook, if you do get to this part, do give thanks. Do asking that you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It's Melanated Empire. We do custom t-shirts, whether it is vinyl or screen printing. You know, just send us your design and we'll have that made for you, right? So let's get back to the topic. So when I say the Black woman is God, I'm not talking about nothing far-fetched though, because God, the word God, is a neuter noun, right? Now, after we have established that is within the English lexicon, okay? Where did it come from? Because we know the English language, when you look up any word within the English language, it has its origin. That is where you do the etymology of languages, okay? The origins. So the English word God came from the German word Goth or Gott, which is a Gothic or Gothic architecture, which is a lot of these churches in the first world countries within Europe and Spain and these places were actually constructed using Gothic architecture. But this German word Goth actually came from a pre-Germanic word, Guthen, which also has its origin in Gut. Now, the word Gut has a trilateral, which is three words that are basically, you can also get all the words out of it. So the trilateral of Gut is Hut. Okay, family? You remove the G. Now, Hut is synonymous with Nut. For those of us who actually know a bit of mathematical science, this image right here is a depiction that our ancestors perceived the universe as. All right? So before all time, there was the Nu, which is the sea of inactivity where all forms of what was to be laid hidden. Nu is the oldest of the deities of ancient Egypt, which is Kemet, which represents the primordial waters that give birth to Atumra, who vibrated life into existence. Atumra basically is another word for the sun. The sun within two representations being the physical, what we can see, and the unseen as well. Okay? This deity, family. Now, for all of us who know, for those of us who know a bit of science, will know that nothing is greater than the universe. All the galaxies and the black holes that we know are composed are all part or inside of the universe. Okay? So it is said that the universe started with a Big Bang, etc., etc. Not going to that. Right now, the greatest thing out there, okay, I believe 90% dark matter and 5% and 5 or 10% dark energy, right? Is the universe. Everything came from the universe. Our sun came from the universe. This universe, family, is represented as a woman with stars over her body. Okay? For those who want a complete definition of the picture, I don't know if you can see my mouse here. This is not, and this is Geb on the earth, held up by Shu. So these are not literal people, family. Geb represents the earth, okay? Shu represents the air, Nut represents the sky. So when we are saying the black woman is God, I'm not speaking about a woman in particular. I'm speaking about the feminine energy or that feminine principle, which obviously through transmutation within different dimensions will obviously have manifested as a black woman today. But in that, it is not a particular single out black woman. All black women. So this deity was shown as a black woman with stars over her body. And she is the birthplace, or she gives birth to all the deities. If we do not subscribe to Kemetic spirituality, the universe gave birth to all the planets and galaxies and suns and solar systems as we have today. And the galaxy in ancient culture within the Rametu peoples, the Kemetians, they represented the universe as a woman. Okay? That is just the first, because what we're going to do, we're going to take you through different cultures to show you how they represented the highest manifestation of the creator as we know it. Okay? Then we go into a little science and a little research. And we're going to go into a touchy subject that a lot of men don't really want to see. You understand? But we have to go into it. That is the science part. We have to go into it. Okay? So this now, and I have to start with Kemet, because Kemet is the flower or the pinnacle of the Nile Valley civilization. What we see in Kemet is a representation of the concepts of Uganda, Sudan, Ethiopia. Okay, we talk about Nubia. is a representation and the fullness of it because it's at its pinnacle. So when I'm talking about Kemet, I'm talking about the Nile Valley. Okay, but for argument's sake, let us now touch into another region. Okay, but before we do that, this is also another representation of Nut. Okay, right here, family. This is sunset. She is actually swallowing the sun. This is the representation now that our ancestors saw during the passage of time of the 24 hours of the sun. Okay, because the sun again is what we use to denote time. We have 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness. So she swallows the sun at sunset. Okay, this is why you see the stars here, and give birth to it every morning. Okay, family? And this is basically just civilization going on. All right? Now, within one of the creational stories, forgot where in Egypt this creation story is not in Komodo, in Hermopolis. Not too sure if it was in Thebes, or in Memphis. But within the creational stories, you basically have four creational stories in Kemet. Okay? Within one of the creational stories, you have a set of 8 deities referred to as the Ogdods. Okay, family? You have Amun and Amunet, you have Nun and Nunet, Kok and Koket, Hek and Hohet. Okay? Amun and Amunet represent the hidden. Nun and Nunet basically represents the darkness. Kok and Koket represents the infinity, and He and Hohet represents another aspect that is far from me right now. Okay, that's a lot of information. But what I want to bring to you is this set of gods. Ogdods Ogdods means 8. Okay, these 8 deities, when you put the names in the correct order, forms the word we know as Ankh. All right, family. And what is the Ankh? What is the Ankh? The Ankh is the Kemetic womb of mankind and eternal life. It is the representation of the feminine energy. It is a representation of the feminine energy. Okay? Because this Ankh symbol, family, is pure feminine energy. I mean, a lot of us probably subconsciously spreading this notion of a false duality. I mean, not sure if many of the people know, there's a difference between duality and polarity. When you say duality, you get the word dual in there. When you get dual actually means to have a battle. When you have a battle, one must be a victor. So there is no polarity as an equal balance in there. So many want to spread this sort of false duality, compartmental dissection in an egotistical, patriarchal notion, showing that, by referring to the symbol, like the bottom part of the symbol is the phallus. So they say this basically is the womb and this is the phallus, trying to show that, trying to show that balance. But again, it is man through ego as well, because this is entirely feminine. This is the woman's uterus, her womb, her fallopian tubes right here, and this is her vaginal canal. You see it here, family? We've got the depiction right here. So I'm basically showing these Ogdods, while they were meant to represent the universe that we just displayed in you, also is symbolic of the Ankh, which is a representation of the feminine energy. All right. Now a lot of people say, them man just on Kemet and Egypt, them man just on Kemet and Egypt. Okay, they will leave Kemet and Egypt and let's go in Mozambique. This is 11th century AD, I mean, for those who always say, oh, the man don't have dates and it's a scholarship thing, and look at the dates. In 11th century AD, in Mozambique, the chief deity, the creator god in Mozambique was Mwalinkulunkulu. Okay, that would be her name in the local town. Okay, but to us, and when you translate it to English, it would be Murari Ishi. And the legend states that in the beginning there was only one god, and her name was Murari Ishi. one God and her name. This is before the onset of Christianity and Islam, you know. You see what I'm saying? This is ancient perceptions, ancient perceptions of our ancestors of what the Creator was esteemed to be, family. This is not no joke here. You check it? And she was all of existence itself, a divine sentient being encompassing all, a ruler of creation and destruction. And it goes on to say, she was very lonely in the divine realm. In her wisdom, she knew the concept of creation as a remedy for her lonesome emptiness. Meaning, she knew how to create life just for her not to be lonely. You see what I'm saying, family? So, while in Kemet, we depicted the universe as being a woman in Egypt, which is northeast, right? In Mozambique, they still have the same concept of a feminine deity being the creator. So all my brothers and sisters that this were like, yeah, we want to Black Power and his Mother Africa and his Africa thing we on. Why when you're there, them trying to teach me this? Huh? I don't understand. That's why we have to put ego aside. I know a little cognitive dissonance will take you and you go fight with yourself for a little while. But this sort of knowledge, information, is not to belittle you or to make you feel small. It is to empower you, right? It is to empower your family. So don't feel no kind of way. Don't let your ego come and, make you feel no kind of way, Asa. You check it? They have to take the information and help it build us up. You understand? Because the woman is the key. For 2,000 years, it's just been a man thing, a man thing, a man thing. You have seen we have gotten anywhere. Hmm? All these wars and everything going on, not that I say no one with power, no war will go on, but just war will go on, not no it. You see, so this is a serious affair, family. A lot of people who, a lot of brothers and sisters who basically say that the Black woman is God would only take it within a third dimensional level. I taking it a step further. I take it within the. I don't really like to use the word metaphysical because meta just means beyond and physical. You're trying to say physical outside when there is nothing really beyond that which is physical. You understand? You see what I'm saying? While the wind here is unseen, okay? Um, if you have an empty bottle, it can still give the illusion of the wind itself being trapped. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the unseen is a representation of the seen, or the seen is a representation of the unseen. Okay, family? So in that aspect, within the metaphysical realms, for lack of a better term, that deity was still represented, or that energy was still represented as a feminine aspect. Okay? Now, Morari issue, if you have to read about Morari right now, you will read that Morari is actually a male deity. So when did this transvestite changing of sex thing come in? It was when the Crusaders and the missionaries went into Mozambique, okay, to preach the doctrine that they heard the local people referring to the deity as Murari. And without trying to understand the perception of these indigenous people of how they saw that divine consciousness, they just took that word and went ahead and used it to replace God in their religious doctrine while superimposing that Christianity onto the people. So if they said in the beginning God created the world, they will say in the beginning Morari created the world. And that is how Morari turned to a male deity. When in essence, Morari is a female deity if you dig deep enough, people. I mean, research is not just about you go first page of Google, you probably get onto links and you have to go deep in the research. So if you go deep, you will see that Murari is actually a feminine deity and a feminine principle, right? Now, remember Nu or Nun or Nut of Kemet? When we go to ancient China, okay? Ancient China, we're talking about 2200 BC, 2200 BC. We come across a deity referred to as Nuwa or Nugwa, okay? And she is the great mother goddess in the matriarchal society since antiquity in ancient China. Look it up. I don't come and talk shit there today, you know. So all man, because I have a kind of little compassion for the far right them, partly because that is where I come from. But some of the far right them really egotistical because they man take that Bible so deep and and they believe that Bible with all their heart, mind, and soul, right? That you cannot tell them nothing. And having said that, man is over woman, and that's how they say it. And you cannot tell them nothing again. So a lot of men that hear me talking about Black Wombman Iz God, they even screw on me. They wish they could have probably hold me and cut my natty and do all kind of things. You know, but usually the ancestors, when I walk like I have 3,000 ancestors behind me. And nobody gets attention. So this creator in ancient China, Nuwa, is mostly depicted as half human with the body of a serpent. And obviously, you know, through China iconography, the serpent actually became a dragon because right now China is, you know, I mean, flooded with those dragon myths, right? And she always has a she's always represented as a semi-mythical supernatural being. So Nuwa or Nugua, which the beginning of a name, the prefix of a name, is the same as the deity of ancient Kemet family. So you can see that it was still our influence coming into these lands from that time, right? So the ancient texts also identify her as the original ancestor of humanity, the creator who molded humans from clay. She is responsible for order and stability in the world. The mythical figure of Noah as a creator god predates the stories of a male creator deity by at least 6 centuries. What? Pause. You have to pause. You have to pause. I let that marinate for the day. Marinate and I go just like the host. The mythical figure of Noah, mythical, okay, without saying they have a woman and have body as a serpent up in the sky somewhere. This is a anthropomorphic sort of zoomorphic representation of the divine energy, which many refer to as God. The mythical figure of Noah as a creator God. Remember this is 2200 BC. I can't say God, I have to say God. As a creator God predates the stories of a male created deity by at least 6 centuries. Those who don't know the centuries, a century is 100 years. So by almost 1,000 years. The creator was esteemed as being a feminine energy, a female. So what happened? What happened? Well, we actually showed what happened at the beginning. But let's take it a step further because see when Melanated Empire doing the research, and give thanks for all my people that doing the research team, you know. Shout out the goddess, you know, goddess of the Nile, goddess Tonia Steele, and shout out whole Melanated Empire, Zeke, you know, Venet Turkin to um 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 Nana, you know, shout out the whole crew still, you know, helping still, yeah. Yeah. So going a little deeper, although ancient texts say, although Lugua was originally alone, we have right? Similar to the shapes we find embedded in history and in the West. In later texts and iconography, Nubua became paired with Fusai or Fuchi or however you want to call it. I don't know how to pronounce it. With Fuchi. Nubua got paired with Fuchi. And Fuchi takes the persona of her brother in some texts and her partner in other texts as a creator god, trying to esteem or show that balance, right? Now, Fushi is accredited with the creation of the hexagrams of the I Ching. The I Ching is an ancient Chinese tribe of people, as well as other inventions. And Lugua and Fujai are represented as intertwined snakes, which later became the famous yin and yang symbol. Okay, so when you see the yin and yang, and people have the yin and yang on them, and when you see them, karate movies, have you, it represents that balance, yes. But I want you to, if anything you live with today, whenever you see that, because you will see that symbol a lot, right? Wherever you see that symbol, the black or the dark part of that symbol, which is the yin, represents Nugua or Nuwa, who was alone, a goddess, a god, a female god, as the creator god, predating a male deity by 6 centuries. Okay? Now, if you're a little woke or largely woke or really off of the bed and really doing something, or you still have sleep in your eyes, you're supposed to know that women are linked to the moon and men are linked to the sun, which is why every morning, men, if your body is working properly, you must have an erection every morning. You must have an erection every morning. That's facts. And the woman has a menstrual cycle within the same time frame as the moon cycle. So the woman is in accordance with the lunar aspect. Okay? Within one of the attributes of yin, we see moon family. And going a little deeper, the moon has an effect on the tides. Okay? And what are the tides? I mean, where do we get the tides? We get the tides in the ocean. The ocean is water. And it also deals with growth family. Don't mind the negative thing you see. This is not negative within the understanding of it being something bad. Again, this is the balance they are trying to display when they bring um, 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 Fuji or Fuchi within the whole matrix of things. Okay? So we have shown where Nuwa or Nugua, having that prefix of Nu, has its root and its initial perception being within Kemet. Okay? And Nugua was is, I can say rather, a female creator god who was alone before they introduced Fuji about 600 years later. Right? Let's go down within India. Yeah, so in India. Let's take a little walk with the Indians and here we sing the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Right? Within Hinduism, okay, within Hinduism they have a triad of gods referred to as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, like the balance, and Shiva is the destroyer, but not the destroyer as in just mashing up everything and chaos, right? Because obviously within the fifth dimension, nothing lasts forever. So it's all an understanding of things. But within a domination of Hinduism called Shaivism, where they venerate the god Shiva, right? One of the most common objects of that particular religion, one of the most common objects of veneration, of worship, is called a lingam. And a lingam family, if you watch it to the left here, is a symbol of Shiva, which obviously is God, but it's part of the triune God, one God and three in one, right? Is depicted as coming out of a yoni. Is the family following me? This stone right here is called a lingam. This is a special religious piece that the people of the denomination called Shivaism, of the religion called Shivaism, have with them or have in their homes as veneration of their deity. And their deity, Shiva, is shown coming out of a yoni. What is a yoni? Don't you know what a yoni is? Don't you know what a yoni is? A yoni is the universe. And right here to the right, family, these are basically all the depictions how you can draw to represent the yoni, being the upside down triangle, also the fist symbol, the horseshoe, and the actual one that Shiva comes out of, which is symbolic of the woman's vagina or vaginal canal, straight up and down and straight in the middle, figuratively and literally speaking as well. Okay, so Mozambique, Kemet, India, right? In Italy, family, okay, they found this figurine they referred to as the Venus of Grimaldi. Okay, the Venus of Grimaldi was discovered at the end of the 18th century and dates back to at least 25,000 years ago. It was discovered in a cave in Balsi Rossi, also called the Grimaldi Caves. 13 Paleolithic sculptures of the female body were found, 12 of these being pregnant women with exaggerated sexual and maternal characteristics. Now, some might say, well, that's a man back in the day were probably just fascinated with woman and the body. I mean, up to a day like today, man is still fascinated with woman and the body and the and the curvature of the woman. Because I mean, um, the curve actually represents the woman, the straight line represents the man. Okay, so man has always been fascinated with the curvature of a woman, so that is nothing new. But don't tell me you're fascinated so much you have to go and put up a figurine, draw a figurine of a pregnant woman. Really? Fascinated so much? I don't believe that. This is a representation of how they perceive again the universe and the creation of God to be. Straight up, family. Simple as is. Okay? In Austria, they found the Venus of Willendorf. Now, they like to refer to them as Venus. As you know, Venus is a planet symbolized by the color green. Is also symbolic of feminine energy, right? Venus is also predominantly the prominence we receive on Friday of the week, right? So the Venus of Willendorf is the name that was given to a female figurine that was found in 1908 in Austria. The Venus goddess, used as a symbol of fertility, served as a mother goddess. The statue has an enlarged stomach and breast. Its pubic area is greatly emphasized, serving as a representative of procreativity. And the red ochre pigment covering it has been thought to symbolize or serve as menstrual blood, seen as a life-giving agent. 25,000 BC. Don't know if the date might be off, whatever. That is the date I got on about 3 occasions, so I stuck with it. Okay? Menstrual blood seen as a life-giving agent. So all those that think the woman unclean and free when she on her cycle, give it a break. You have to allow it. You have to allow it. You have to allow it. You have to allow it for the time. And we have to be like, servants to them at such a period. We understand it because that is the life-giving property. It's not a curse. The body not born in no sin. The woman, the vagina of the black woman, is the portal between the physical and the spiritual dimension. She is the only individual that can merge these two into one. Why do you think you call her individual? Individual has 2 words in it, indivi, which is indivisible, I mean the root word of indivisible, and dual meaning 2. Okay, so you have individual, indivi, you have things, 2 things that you have stuff that cannot be divided, 2. Okay, in 2 things that cannot really be divided that are one for the time. So you being an individual, you have a spirit, you are a spirit and you have a body. You're not a body and you have a spirit. You are a spirit, a soul, a light being, and you have a body. That is what makes you an individual. And being a person, okay, you are a percentage of the sun because you also compose a certain part of the sun, being your solar plexus, and you being composed of melanin is condensed sunlight. Now, the red pigment, the blood, is not under the blood of Jesus, under the blood of the black woman that gave birth to you. All right? This is a different understanding. This is a different. I mean, because we have friends and we have people that will try to prevent you from reaching different schools of thought, family. Okay? These different schools of thought can even be considered as higher dimensions within your perception of things. Right? Now, by embracing greater wisdom through understanding the universal truth, you will ascend from involution in cycles to evolution in spirals towards ultimate truth. And that is just a great quote from a great ancestor, Dr. Delbert Blair. Part of my science presentation is off of his research, okay, which I have gone and taken and done the research for myself and proved it to be true. This is why I'm coming with this. You understand? It is the rise of, it is the rise of the patriarchy, Tell the black woman I have a throne back for her. And this is what we're doing right here. It's Melanated Empire family. Subscribe on YouTube if you're not yet. The Facebook doesn't really have a lot of activity. Sometimes I'm quite preoccupied. We have our upcoming lecture December 7th. It's going to be debunking Adam and Eve and original sin. Okay? Be in the building. Viewfort, obviously, right? December 7th. But you're going to see the flyers and everything. I'm going to even do a little video about it. That's for that time. So we're going to continue. So in Italy, in Austria, we have touched Mozambique, we have touched ancient China, we have touched Kemet. All venerate and depict the creator as being a black woman, as being a god or goddess to your present level of understanding. Okay. Now I just want to show you the comparison between Venus and Sarah. Okay, Sarah Bartman. Sarah Bartman was actually captured in South America. She's from the Khoikhoi tribe in South America, and we can see the semblance, right there. You check it. Now, before Allah, that same Islam, right? Before Allah in Islam was Alat. And a lot of the family that won't know this, guys. You see what I'm going through there? This basically is just for those that are already in the know. This is still for those that know it, but have a little difficulty, a little cognitive dissonance. They gain them some licks there, left, right, and center. Right? So we're just going through it again. Before Allah was Alat. Why do you say that, Vishnu? Why do you say that? Because in pre-Islamic time, okay, pre-Islam, because they say before when they got the Quran, man came with knowledge. So the whole time they didn't have the Quran, they were quite ignorant. That is what the Arabic culture says. Okay, so within time before the emergence of Islam, okay, the people in Arabia were worshipping about 360 deities, family. That is a lot of deities, eh? That is quite a lot of deities. They were worshipping 360 deities. Okay? Now, these deities were stored in what they call the Kaaba in Mecca. Alright? Now, out of these 360 deities, there were 3 deities that were chiefly venerated within that time period. And the name was Allah, Al-Uzza, and Al-Manat. Now, these are not literal people. It's all a representation of a divine energy or a symbol to some magnificent creation of the divine energy. For example, Alat is a representation of the moon. So Alat the mother, right? Her name basically just means, the goddess, okay? And she's a representation of the crescent moon. Al-Uzza, who name means the mighty one, the morning star. She's a representation of the full moon. And Almanat represents the waning moon. Family. Okay? And Al-Uzza, the strong one, was one of the most venerated Arab deities and the goddess of the morning and the evening star, Venus. She even had a temple at Petra, at a place called Petra. Today, I believe, just search it up, just look it up. Okay? So, what I'm saying, and after this coming lecture in December, we're going to have a lecture strictly on Islam. We're going to deconstruct it straight up and down. Okay? Straight up and down. We're going to deconstruct it. So before Allah was Alat. Now, yes. I mean, should I touch into that? Let me touch into it quickly. Yes, there was a deity called Hubble, and it was Hubble that was put into Allah. Okay? But Hubble wasn't that really much venerated. To a lot of people, it was Allah. Because there is a book called the Book of Classes, I believe. Let me see if I get that. There's a book called the Book of Major Classes by one Mohammed individual. You know that kind of names. And it says in the book, right, that Muhammad at the age of 12 was approached by a Catholic monk. And the monk said to him, "Oh boy, let me ask you something in the name of Allah and Al-Uzza. You should not refrain from informing me what I ask." This is documented, and shout out to Crumb Snatcher. I got got that excerpt from him. Send me and look that up, right? This is what it said. The Catholic man said to him. So the Catholic man, in approaching Muhammad, asked him or tell him, "Oh boy," or as we say in our tongue in St. Lucia, Gassa, let me ask you something. Not in the name of God, in the name of Alat and Al-Uzza, you should not refrain from telling me what I'm asking you right now. So let me ask you, what's going on over there? So by invoking the name of the chief deity of Arabia within that time period to Muhammad, it is incumbent on Muhammad for him not to lie. You check out the vibe is. So why did we call on that goddess family? It's not a joke thing. So we are correct in saying before Allah was Alat. And if you even have to check within Western religious concept, Allah, there is a deity called Allah in Nigeria, which is a fertility goddess. Allah, not Allah, Allah, which is a fertility goddess, not a man. So this again presentation is showing within ancient cultures the veneration of the feminine aspect before the onslaught of this Greco-Roman, these Caucasian, these individuals, when they come and distort and damage and want to change cultures as they go along, family. Okay? Before, let me just see let me see if everything went smooth before. I got to leave that one there because that one, you should get, that one there. Yeah, peace, Nestor. Give thanks, brother. Give thanks for tuning in. Yeah, give thanks. Yeah. And Mavis, give thanks, and Xavier. Yeah. Peace to the people. I just flew through. Get back to the presentation. Give thanks for joining us. Joining me, us, Melanated Empire. It's all about the family, trying to build an empire and raising that consciousness, right? From current slide. Before there was a lion of Judah, there was the lioness of Kemet. Okay? Who is the lioness of Kemet? A lot of us know it as the Sphinx, but the proper name, the ancestral name, is the Heru M. Aketi. Okay? Now, the Sphinx, many think is the head of a man. The Sphinx is actually the head of a woman. Simon, what are you talking about there? The head of a woman? Are you crazy? You're the head of you ain't seen the man like that? You ain't seen the issues of the nose and this hero Emaketi, this sculpture is a representation of the girdle of us or sect, or many know as Isis. The girdle of Isis is what we call within present day English vernacular, right? The zodiac. So the Sphinx is a representation of the zodiac. How? Because the Sphinx has the body of a lion. I mean, many people know this. Okay, so why is it the head of a woman and not the head of a man? If it's in representation of the zodiac, and many of us know the 12 houses of the zodiac, okay, let us just do look and find. I have a little book that is my princess, although it's a Bible look and find book. We have started to create our own books, man. So we have a look and find book where they have an activity going on with many different people and things, and you have different things you have to spot and find. Okay, so let us spot and find if this is in semblance or resemblance to as above so below to the zodiac, and if it's part lion, let us look for where there is a lion or which zodiac house is the lion family. It will obviously have to be Leo, right? So if we have Leo the lion and we go clockwise 360 degrees, what is the constellation before Leo family? I'm not even going to say it. All I'm going to say is just that, to me, the name of that constellation, or most people perceive that constellation to be feminine. So that is basically the Sphinx or the Heru Emaketi in itself, a representation of the zodiac, of the constellation, okay, within the study of astronomy, right? So before there was the Lion of Judah, there was the Lioness of Kemet, because the Sphinx has been dated, okay, to more than 10,000 years, family. I mean, a lot of people say there is a lot of mix up with the dates, but there have been a lot of sand and water erosion, which puts the initial date they had further back, you know. So it's not no joke, family. So before there was a Lion of Judah, no disrespect to the Master Bedouins, them a lot of men like to feel away fast, right? There was the Lioness of Kemet. Okay, remember we are speaking about the feminine principle. The name of this presentation is the Black Woman Iz God. Okay, again, we are not speaking about a particular singled out woman where I tell you have to go and worship the woman. If you're looking for a the closest representation of this divine feminine energy to venerate, I show you have your queen right there, or your empress right next to you, or your princess there. So do that veneration there, and you can even do it within the spiritual realm as well. But I know this understanding is a slap in the face for many. You understand? But again, it's transitioning. And I know the word, I know the balance thing going to come in. I come in on the balance thing just now. We're having a look at Kemet again. The goddess Sekhmet is one of the oldest known Egyptian deities. Her name is derived from the Egyptian word Sekhem, which means power. Now, even before this, I tried to play a little clip in my first two presentations showing Dr. Ben saying that he worshipped the black woman, and he has no problem saying that. Anyway, a lot of people will say, oh, Dr. Ben was just taking his kicks and, he's only talking about the reproduction aspect because he says that he knows where heaven is. And yes, there are different perceptions of heaven. There is heaven in the sky. There is heaven within your mind, your heavens. And there is the heaven where you have to be born again, where you have to come from. Remember, she is the portal. You see what I'm saying? So he said that the black woman is God, and he had and in another presentation, which is entitled The Origin of Christianity, he said that before men worship any male image, he worshipped first the goddess Hathor, which we showed that they demonized, showing that it was a idol worship when the so-called Hebrew Israelites left out of Egypt being captives, which is fiction. So Sekhmet, she is depicted as the lion-headed woman, sometimes with the addition of a sun disk on her head, which is the uraeus. Okay, some say that the deity was introduced from Sudan, where lions are more plentiful. Remember, we said and we highlighted that the 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 intelligence, okay, and the display and the projection of consciousness within these stone tablets that the ancestors of Kemet left for us came from up the Nile family. Okay, it came from up the Nile. So I said that it came from places like Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, Mozambique. You know, the understanding came from all these places. That's why, because there are no lions in Egypt. So where did we get that understanding? Obviously, it will have to come from a civilization lower down that region. Okay, so we venerated. That's the first aspect of a lion. For my far right bedroom name, the first aspect of a lion that we venerated. Okay, the first aspect of a lion. Now, it is the matriarch and not the patriarch, the spiritual system, okay, in Egypt, Kemet, was that of it was based on a matriarchal system. All the kings had to come through the line of the mother, okay? And the ancestors had no problem in understanding and accepting this basic concept. I don't know what happened to guys. We're too exposed to that Western European thing, okay? We're too exposed to it. Because this shouldn't be so hard for us to grasp. I mean, a lot of us right now, and I show a lot of brothers and sisters, still at their parents' home. You check it. Your mother that brought you into the world still caring for you, and even not staying at home. Your mother must be calling to check up on you to make sure everything irie being that um um showing that motherhood aspect about her. So much so, we venerated that aspect of the woman so much that a king named King Pepe II, okay, made them do a sculpture of him on his mother's lap. Okay? And at the time of the sculpture, he was already a king, he was already a big man. Okay? Because he became king at a young age, he was already a big man. And then he showed now, he made them do an artifact to honor his mother. Do he big man? Do a sculpture of me as a young man on my mother's lap. That is veneration there, right there. Why do you think they were able to prosper for so long? And then you have some idiots that come in and say, oh, it is the God of Israel, all nations that go against the God of Israel have to blame and shady talking there. Papi shady talking. Okay? Shady talking there. It was first the mulatto problem, according to Chancellor Williams in his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization. It was first the mulatto problem, and then it was the infiltration of these other races, though at first they came to learn, okay, through the conquest and the war taking place within that BC period in Kemet, in Egypt. Now, to show you how the system of Kemet of ancient Egypt was matriarchal. Okay, this is King Tutankhamun's throne, I mean, for many of you who are new. Okay, but what I'm showing you here is the two emblems or the two sculptures on his third eye. All right, family, we have the vulture and we have the serpent. Okay, Wajet and Nefert. Okay, this is a female vulture family. Okay, Nedbet is a female vulture and Wajet is a female goddess. Wajet is the very first representation of the sun, which is why we call what many know as the Eye of Horus. Okay, that eye, that one eye. We call the name of the Eye of Horus is the Wajet symbol, is Wajet. And Wajet is the feminine goddess. So we have these two feminine deities resting on the third eye of the Pharaoh. Isn't that divine divine interconnectedness between the Pharaoh, his third eye, his pineal gland transmuting through his crown chakra, through his star seed chakra into the universe? corresponding and manifesting the reality that he sees fit within his era or time ruling as king family. It's all about matriarchy. It's all about the feminine energy. Okay? And for the past 2,000 years, we have been led astray by our enslavers who introduced us to these monotheistic religions. But many spirit guides, okay, many light beings who basically the energy signature within the time of conception on this third dimension were assigned to raise the consciousness of the planet, to help in raising the consciousness of the planet. And all how, family. Young Caribbean God, gonna give it to you straight. Okay? No prejudice, no sidestepping, because I myself am a person of truth. Okay? I am a master teacher, I don't know master teacher. I'm a master student because I'm still learning. Okay? I'm a master student. I go and do my research to check. I'm not letting ego rule me and take control of my perception. Right? So let's take it a step further. The first house of Rastafari was called Nyabinghi. Okay? Now, the word Nyabinghi has somewhat a complicated history. This is what you will get on any Rastafari website. This is what you will get, right? It was originally associated with an uprising against white European colonialism in southwestern Uganda during the mid and late 19th century and the earliest part of the 20th. The movement was mainly led by a number of women. This is women who are revolting against European colonialism. Okay? Now, they were led by a number of women, including a charismatic healer called Muhumusa, who was much feared. She was believed to be possessed by the spirit of a legendary Amazon queen, Nyabinghi. So Nyabinghi is a representation of a spirit. Okay? There is a queen called Nyabinghi in a different story, but Nyabinghi is a representation of a feminine spirit. Musa not only inspired a vast popular following, but also organized military action against the German colonialists. The name Nyabinghi was a synonym for Sekhmet. Queen Nyabinghi was the archetypal priestess queen of a province of Upper Kush, Egypt, Ethiopia. Now, they actually put that in trying to relate the lioness aspect, but we just trace that back being from Sudan. So the whole spiritual concept of that lioness, creator, undifferentiated aspect of that divine consciousness was represented as a feminine principle. I know what to say again. And we even get, I even feel we get halfway to the lecture. Okay? In Poland and the Vatican, my Christian brethren them that might actually come across this video. Because mind you, Christian people staying away from them kind of videos, We don't want to see them kind of videos. Okay? My Christian brethren them who say they have nothing to do with Catholic. Let me get a drink, family. Brief you just a minute, right? Be right with you, sir. My Christian brethren them not think they have one up on the Catholics. Who gave you a Bible? Your Bible you have there. We're just touching the water of our toes. Your Bible, your English Bible, was actually translated from Latin. We use Latin in the Catholic Church. The concept of Jesus being a Christian came from Catholicism. So stop it. If you bullshit, stop it. I just stop it, yeah. You gotta stop it. Right? So these individuals who gave you this concept of this Jesus Christ, which we have proven through research, didn't exist and therefore is not coming back. Yes, I said it. Never existed, not coming back. And don't come and tell me but Yehoshua did, or Joshua did, or Iosos did, or GZ did, or Jesus did. Come on, it's the same individual in the same name in different languages. Don't give me that bullshit. He didn't exist. Painting black, white, green, blue. I mean, I know them colors don't really make sense because they don't have no ways like that. But I'm just showing you, even though you played the Negro or the brother, figuratively speaking, black, that don't make him real, yo. I mean, that, mind you. Okay. Let me calm down. Because painting him black is the first step in awakening. But don't paint him black and then still want to hold on to the Bible like everything heaven word of God and I can't tell you nothing like I mean everyone is entitled to their belief. What I'm doing here, I'm not superimposing, and this is not a belief, this is knowledge, this is fact, this is historical evidence. What I'm doing here, I'm not superimposing my knowledge because I don't believe this. This is knowledge, this is fact. I'm not superimposing this on anybody. This is free. You check what I'm telling you. This is free knowledge for my brothers and sisters to actually grasp. Because I want us to actually rise up from this understanding. And when you realize the black woman is God and the God created you and you therefore are God, you would see that you would take responsibility and stop waiting for God to do things for you. And if every individual would rise up and take responsibility for their actions, stop blaming God, stop blaming the devil and waiting for God or the devil do this or that kind of thing there, the world will be a better place than it is today. So I feel I don't go off in a tangent there, ready? Let me try and wheel and come again and back on track. So the individuals that give you Jesus, look what they're doing downstairs. Downstairs in the basement. Not in the basement, in that church in Ghana there. Okay, in the basement of that church in Ghana was actually slave dungeons, slave prisons, right? In the basement of their cathedrals. This is in Poland, this is in the Vatican. On the right, you have Pope Benedict the 16th, I believe it is, an Italian Pope Francis the First, pray to the Black Madonna. This is what they do behind the doors. They pray to the Black Madonna. Not other people just say, yeah, you see, they pray to the Black God and the God they pray to Black. Yes, I agree. I concur. The God they are praying to is Black. Okay? But what is the adult representation of that deity? Because there are two deities in the picture, Black Madonna and child. They said and child. They didn't even title the child. They just said child, general term. So they paid a great significance onto the adult representation in the image, which is Madonna, which is a woman family. Come on, man. Come on. Huh? Look at this guy right here bowing. I'm sure he was a little he was kissing her feet. You check it. So how we find it hard now to understand and to venerate and to see with our mind's eye that the divine entity, the divine consciousness is a feminine principle. Okay? That doesn't mean I mean, I'm not talking about us men for the time. Okay? Stop feeling your kind of way. I'm not speaking about us men for the time. I'm speaking about the woman. Now, this Black Madonna and child is in the middle representation here. We have three pictures. The Black Madonna and child is the middle representation. Okay? So progression or regression? Because after this depiction of the Black Madonna and child, we have Theotokos and the Christ who later became Mary and Jesus. Okay? But all of this came from us and horror. Many of us call or Set, or Isis, and Heru or Horus. It all came from this. So the Black Madonna, many of you would like to go and stem to that. Go back a little bit more again still, you will find greater treasures still. You see it? Now, a lot of people will say, guys, we're not in Africa, and just an African height, because of through the mitochondrial Eve gene, which can be traced through our mothers, all of mankind has been linked to a common ancestor, which is African. So you're indigenous man, don't give me that. That's why you don't want to do DNA tests. Don't give me that bullshit. You check it? So we have to pay homage and pay reverence to the place that really don't need no other land to live, because it has all its natural resources. What resources we have in St. Lucia? I mean, give thanks here, St. Lucia, sweet despite the amount of bubble and everything that there. Hospital versus horses and all kind of thing, right? But we have to pay homage. You understand? So we leave Africa alone for a little while. Let me come to the Taino Indians. Let me come in the Americas now. Okay? The chief deity of the Taino Indians is tell you his name, Whoa. The name has just gone past me, man, and I don't even want to close the presentation before it tries and stick you. Let me get the name. I have to go. Give me a second. Give me a second, family. Give me just a second. Let me look for that here. Had that written there, and I'm looking for it and didn't see that. Okay, we're just gonna go on, family. I don't want to have the family waiting. Anyway, when you go into the Taino Indian spiritual concepts, okay, we have the goddess where they refer to as Atabe. Now, Atabe is considered the most supreme of the gods. Okay, the goddess Atabe is important because she is the mother of the gods and the initial creator. I want to stress on that point, the initial creator. In fact, she even gave birth to herself. This actually makes her one of the most powerful gods of creation gods in mythical study. Okay, she was the goddess of music, fertility, and beauty. She was depicted as a frog-like figure who is more often than not in the birthing position to symbolize her importance as a mother goddess of that fertility aspect family. So, although we left Africans, and we'll say, oh, probably only in Africa and the indigenous people, the Great Spirit is also considered a feminine principle. So all this, the first part of this presentation, family, was just to show you that ancient cultures, okay, we're talking from BC period, the understanding or the projection of that divine consciousness that we refer to as God, when they had to show you that or represent it in a physical form, it was always that of a woman. Why is this knowledge hidden from us, family? Why? So this just goes to show that the universe in itself is feminine. Okay? So the universe is an astronomical field, you can see. The universe, as I stated earlier, is made up predominantly of dark energy and dark matter. Dark energy and dark matter are basically the same, they're synonymous. Okay? Because this matter now will actually create energy. So this energy, dark energy, is principally electromagnetic, consisting of atoms, which obviously majority of its contents are electrons. Because if the energy is electromagnetic, the beginning of the word electro deals with electrons, family, because we're dealing with electricity here. So the word in itself, okay, the suffix of the word electro, meaning electrons. Anyone who knows the study of electricity, electron is the feminine principle, right? So this dark energy, majority of it is electrons, which is why the universe can actually build upon itself. Okay? So that's what I just said. According to electricity, the electron is the negative charge, which is synonym with a feminine energy. So this dark energy, which is principally what the universe is made of. I mean, I just showed you through depiction and through, just ancient people just sitting down there and thinking and saying, you know what? I think the universe and I think God is a giant female, a giant female. We're showing you here scientifically through the study of even electricity as um, one of the elements composed within this universe, which we showed you previously, is depicted as a female. Physically, it is also feminine because majority of its atoms are electrons, family. Not no joke thing going on there. Now, we have the universe, okay? But some who study the Hermetic laws, they will know that there are 7 Hermetic principles, okay? Hermetic Hermes, Trismegistus, is actually in Greek, who they call Jehotimus or Thoth in Kemetic or Egyptian mythology. All right. So those who go with the 7 Hermetic principles will know that there are 7 natural principles associated with the universe that are basically principal laws. Now, the divine law of the universe was represented as a goddess referred to as Ma'at or Mayat, however you want to call it. Okay, she is the law. She represents what? Balance. So everybody that say no, is the man, the woman is a balance and it's a balance. The symbol for balance, according to the ancestors, is a woman. So what you want to hear again? So after the universe being created, the law which governs the universe and sets order over chaos is depicted as a woman with her wings spread in a yoga position on one knee. Now I mentioned Hermes because that's who they named the 7 principles after. I mentioned Jehotimus because those are the 7 principles that govern the universe. But Jehotimus is represented as the husband of Mayat. Family, the shit goes deep. So this God represents attributes such as truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. So after the universe is being created, there is an order to things, the divine law which has to actually come in, not no, thou shalt not, and thou shalt not. You are God within yourself, and you know what it means to even transgress natural law, which is why we would have the 42 negative confessions of my heart, where in the morning you say, I will not, and I will not, and I will not do this, and I will not do that, and then later in the day I will say, I have not, and I have not, and I have not, and I have not done that, and I have not done this. I mean, we being in the 21st century, you don't have to be repeating the whole 42 of my heart, but you know within that spirit or that soul, that angle of the electromagnetic spectrum, know that perception can discern from right from wrong. So you know when you're doing the wrong, you know when you're doing the right. So you don't even have to go over all them things like Christian people not holding the commandments and have the commandments in the head, And before they pass by something and you see a woman say, oh, but thou shalt not think thy neighbor's wife. Nobody not holding them things in the head, but you just automatically know. So this, while the universe family is represented as feminine, we show this scientifically as well. The divine law which governs the universe, according to the ancestors, is also feminine. Okay? Now, out of the universe, we have the sun. The sun and the heat of the sun, the the electromagnetic light spectrum of the sun, is responsible for creating life on this earth. Is even actually responsible for forming the earth as we know it to be. The sun is the life giver and the keeper of life. There are 4 domains of life. We have the mineral kingdom, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the human kingdom. The sun is the sustainer of all these 4 kingdoms of life within this dimension on the face of this planet. Okay? The sun. But a lot of people say now sun is run, rise the sun, and rise a male deity. Okay? All my Kemetic brothers and sisters, rise a male deity. That's what we know. But according to the mythology, according to the story, okay, according to the mythos, we see that the first representation of our sun in the solar system was that of a feminine aspect in the form of Wadjet, the fiery serpent goddess. And as I said earlier, her name Wadjet is also the name of the Eye of Horus. Because when Atumra, okay, when Atum, before he became Atumra, had already created Shu and Geb, alright? Shu and Tefnut, pardon me, Shu and Tefnut went out to explore the universe, and he sent his eye to look for them. And his eye left, I mean, this is the Mythos family. His eye left, turned into a bird, okay? The first falcon as well, because many would know hero as a falcon, transformed into the first falcon and went and shined the way for Shu and Tefnut to come back home, right? So the first representation of our sun was that of a feminine aspect. So we have the universe being created feminine. We have the law of the universe being feminine. We have the sun, because remember, again, from one of our earlier slides, the universe being depicted as the woman gave birth to what? The sun. And while sun, S-U-N, we know is a male aspect, is still shown as a feminine for the very first depiction back. Okay? And then the earth we have now, because again the earth, the sun, through its warm rays, give birth to the other planets within the solar system. But the planet that we live on, many refer to it as Mother Earth. So the universe being feminine gives birth to the sun and planets. Our present realm of existence is on planet Earth. Planet Earth is also referred to as Mother Earth. No one argues that. See my little picture of Tefiti there and Moana there? Huh? Mother Earth family. A mother as the earth births and plants, all plants and trees and water which are beneficial to our survival. This vast nutritional environment is called Mother Nature. The originated from the term netter or netter, as many of us will say. Okay, so it's all feminine from what I see. And then obviously we doing just a little figurative timeline there, sort of speaking. It will take us down to, the earth being created, plants, everything being created. It will take us down to the creation of man. And according to Genesis, God made man out of the dust of the ground. This is a representation. This is God. This is God. This European, Hispanic, I don't know what kind of breed man, bringing man out of the ground there. This never happened, family. This never happened. You see that image? When you see that, you have to just laugh in your head, shake your head, and just say, that's bullshit. Utter bullshit. Right? But how Adam giving birth to Eve? And then the word Eve, the whole notion of Eve means before. We have Christmas Eve. We are anyway. I don't want to go too deep into that because I have a lecture, right? But what I want the individuals to grasp, the term Adam, okay, came from the Hebrew word Adam, which means clay or soil. That is where the notion of the made man out of the soil came from. But when we go down to the smallest aspect or the most very minute, you can put that thing called the soil. You will get the atom. The atom is the smallest particle of something, but still holding all its substance. Okay, so when you have to check the soil in its smallest composition, you will get an atom. Okay, atom is the origin of the Adam, because nowhere in history, nowhere presently, man giving birth to woman. So that bullshit about make man sleep and then, I mean, you just finish make the learn the thing and they say it's in 6 days, which is a bullshit story. They create everything in 6 days and you're still on the seventh. Like, you guys, that's just a copy of the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian epic. So get off of it, the Hebrew Israelites, and all of us who subscribe to it. We have to look about our eyes and come to this understanding, right? Atom is what they really mean when they try and tell you Adam. And the rib that they took to make Eve, if you know how the cross section of an atom, this is its nucleus with its proton, this is its electrons going in a vortex kind of fashion, right? This part of the atom, right, family? This part of the atom is called the rib. This right here is called the rib. So God took, or the divine consciousness took, soil in its most smallest molecule, the atom, and took the rib, the electron, okay, and began the composure of the Homo sapien as we know it today. So within the evolution within the process of the cycle of atoms, okay, we have the atom, and many atoms make up a molecule. Many molecules make up cells. Many cells make up tissues. Many tissues make up organs. From organs, many organs, we have organ systems, and then we have an organism. Now, you can't get a woman from a man. Let me say that again. You cannot get a woman from a man. You cannot get a man from a man, but you can get a man from a woman, and you can get a woman from a woman. Think about that, family. Straight up and down and in the middle. The man cannot reproduce himself, but the woman can. Now many of you will say, but the woman can reproduce herself without the man. Really? Come into that, you know. That was something I would have skipped had I come into it. Because research, you see research, and according to Malcolm X, right? History is the best to reward all research. So you're researching things which transpired evidently, historically. So unlike religious doctrine would have us believe God didn't mold man from the dust of the ground and blew the breath of life into his nostrils, thereafter taking man rib to create woman. Scientifically, the first organism which came into existence would have to be from an atom, and the progressive stages as we just went through. So the first organism would have to be a woman. And this can be proven scientifically that women walked the planet thousands of years before man. What? What? Why you feel they have 8 women to 1 man? Why you feel they have so many women on the planet? You realize that by coincidence? You feel that man just, with the foods and things, that man just get really fertile, so he's, without hitting the right way, so it's more women that have been made. It is designed that way in the grand alchemy of the universe. So the first being is a woman. Probably she didn't look so, so glamorous, but the first being is a woman. And then we now came from her. Okay? So many will say, but so if the woman was alone, how did she procreate? How did she give birth if the man not there and if they don't have no juk going on? And if no sperm not going in? Okay? This way we know of conception with the man and the woman is referred to as epigenesis. It was coined by a doctor called Edward Bischoff in 1854. Okay, so he states that the zygote is developed by the union of the sperm and the egg. This is called epigenesis. The process by which the woman, okay, can give birth on her own is referred to as parthenogenesis. So parthenogenesis is the process by which you can get an embryo from an unfertilized egg. And when we say unfertilized, it does not mean women not fertilized in the common way of reproduction, meaning with the sperm family. Okay? Mitosis goes on without, and for those who don't know, mitosis is the division of the cell, without the intervention of the sperm family. It is not no joke. Now you will say, oh, Gasa, but how? Oh, you don't see my next slide already. So how can some animals in nature reproduce asexually, but you're telling me the human species cannot do it, and then yet still, according to your scriptures, we have dominion over all them things there, and we are the highest creation? We don't even have to check the religious corpuses for these things. We can just see through nature that man, within his mind and his consciousness, and how he was built, how he was designed by the divine consciousness, is higher than all these animals. So, if some of these animals, like the whip-tailed lizard we have right here in St. Lucia on Maria Islets, right here, the Komodo dragon, the hammerhead shark, these animals, I mean, everybody should know bees too. Okay, these animals reproduce asexually, what they call parthenogenesis, asexually by themselves. Even one of our highly venerated zoomorphic representations of ancient Kemet, which is the dung beetle, the scarab beetle family. Let me check what's going on. I always have to check what's going on to make sure I still live here. I don't want no problems there. I had issues coming in. I have to keep it going. Okay, so I'm good. Looks like I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm good. Okay. So let's get back to the presentation. One of the most venerated animals within the Kemetic mythology is the dung beetle, the scarab beetle. Why? Well, just so their ancestors really like animals. They always taking animals for. This is not a beetle, he's a dog head, he's a bird head, why? The thing is, family, try not to, demonize or disregard something we don't understand. Okay? The ancestors used animals as ideographs to depict certain ideas because through the passage of time, be it thousands of years, the behaviorisms, the mannerisms of animals do not change. Man change, okay, but animals don't change. So this is why we took the understanding and the perception of different animals and applied it to our thinking, okay, and displayed this on the walls. This is what the ancestors did, okay. Horus has the bird head because the falcon is the only bird that can fly straight into the sun because it has an extra eyelid that the sun cannot, blind it. It is the fastest bird. When there's a storm, it flies above the storm. You know what I mean? So the ancestors saw these attributes and say, yo, you know what? We're there like that falcon, you know. So when we're really at our at our best, when we're at our optimum and doing really good spiritually and physically, let's show or depict ourselves as that falcon. That's all it is. That is all it is, family. Okay? Not no cow worship and beetle worship and them kind of thing there. You understand? Give thanks for the showers. So the dung beetle, the ancestors used the dung beetle because every morning the dung beetle would roll a ball of dung, a perfect sphere, family, a ball of dung toward the direction of the rising sun. It did this every morning, and the ancestors observed that. Now, another thing, the scarab beetle is also an asexual animal. If it have to mate, it dies. Facts. Research it. If the scarab beetle mate, it dies. Okay? So it rolls the ball of dung towards the rising sun every morning and it lays its eggs in there. So when the eggs hatch, they have a direct source of nourishment. Okay? And the scarab beetle is the only animal which really use the Milky Way to navigate itself within this Earth family. So all these animals, okay, reproduce asexually. So why do you think it's impossible for the human of that? In St. Lucia, we have Dennery by Dennery side there, by Poale side there. You know, we have a lot of snakes. The boa constrictor can have babies without mating. New evidence shows in an article dated November 4th, 2010. Okay, North Carolina State University. In a finding that depends, in a finding that that upends decades of scientific theory on reptile reproduction, researchers have discovered that female boa constrictors can squeeze out babies without mating. Most strikingly, the findings show that the babies produced from this asexual reproduction have attributes previously believed to be impossible. What are you saying, I'm showing you that there are certain animals, because if you have to put the four domains, okay, first you have the mineral domain, which is responsible for giving sustenance through the carbon cycle. Then we have the plant domain, which through photosynthesis, okay, gives the plant life. Then we have the animal domain, who uses the sun as warmth, also as a navigation aspect through the daylight, and indirectly the sun being the life giver, because the animals, okay, the animal life, majority of the animal life are vegans, and then we, the last kingdom family, okay. So if you want to tell me there are plants that can think asexually, there are animals, why we can't do it? So this Edward Bishop guy giving us that epigenesis in 1854, I mean, give thanks, yes, still, but a little deeper research shows that parthenogenesis is actually possible. I hope the family is still hearing me, you know, despite the rain. So this scientist called Jack Loeb got this information from Dr. Delbert Blair. Give thanks, honorable ancestors. He said that when we continue to call our ancestors' name, they live on. So give thanks. Okay? Jack Loeb. And you have to go and do the research. You not just take what the ancestors say, you know, you have to go and do your research. You can't just be regurgitating things and you don't go and prove it for yourself, or you look like an idiot. But I went and do, we at Melanated Empire, we did the research, and this is what popped up. So, in an article by Steve Elliott published 2009, when you look up keywords biography and parthenogenesis, it's been so long I put that together, I don't even remember which site, but I'm sure you can get it. Jack Loeb experimented on embryos in Europe and the United States at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th centuries. Among the first to study embryos through experimentation, Loeb helped found the new field of experimental embryology. Notably, Loeb showed scientists how to induce artificial parthenogenesis, thus refuting the idea that spermatozoa alone were necessary to develop eggs into embryos, and confirming the idea that the chemical constitution of embryos' environment affected their development. All this is basically saying is that the egg can fertilize without sperm based upon the environment that it's in. Okay? Furthermore, Loeb's work showed that scientists could manipulate materials in a laboratory to create, as he called the process, the beginning stages of life. So, family, this is just wow. I mean, I know some of us are not really scientists here, but we just take our time to understand what's going on here. Okay. Dr. Delbert Blair also said that in 1975, a vibrational device was attached to an egg. Okay, family? In 1975, a vibrational device was attached to an egg for a time period, and over a time period, the egg displayed a rhythmic heartbeat. Are you hearing me, family? A vibrational device was attached to an egg, and over a time period, the egg started to display a rhythmic heartbeat. No sperm was involved here. Okay? No sperm was involved here. Right? Now, this is a case history of Parthenogenesis in 1944. Anyone can go look it up and you'll get the newspaper clipping. Okay? This is, what's her name here? Mrs. Emery Jones. Okay? With her daughter. Pictured here with her mother. The news clipping, my baby born without a man. What? Pause. Pause. Let me leave the clipping for a little while for people to, really read it and see what's going on. Okay? Now, I'm just doing the research, family. If the newspaper clipping false, I don't feel, sometimes we get lies in newspapers and this and that, but newspapers is, more times than many, there's have truth in it. So if that reached the newspaper, that has to have some truth in it, no? Okay. Now, this is how Mrs. Emery Jones related the history of her case. I felt very tired and lethargic in the summer of 1944 in Germany when the Allied bombardment was most severe and it seemed I had no energy. When I saw I was not improving, I decided to go to the doctor who prescribed me a tonic. He was not especially worried. He thought all I needed was something to strengthen me. I was, however, surprised when the physician said he wished to make a complete examination. I cannot describe my surprise when, after going to write the prescription, he returned to me and said, "It is not surprising that you need a tonic. The fact is that you are pregnant now for 3 months." I recall that when I heard that, I burst out laughing and was sure that he committed an absurd error. I said to him, "You must be mistaken. It is impossible for me to be pregnant. 3 months ago, I was in a hospital and at this time had nothing to do with any man. And so your statement could not have had any basis in fact." But the doctor remained unmoved and answered that he would shortly ascertain whether his diagnosis was correct. She added that she felt that she left the doctor's office quite upset. Later, she told Audrey Whiting, "It would not be correct to say I was disturbed about the matter. I simply did not believe what the doctor said. I am not a child. I know life, and above all, know that a woman cannot have a child without contact with a man." Now, some people might say, "Look, she said last 3 months she was in a hospital. Last 3 months she wasn't in a hospital unconscious. She went to the hospital for the checkup. Okay? She was not unconscious, they didn't give her nothing in the checkup for her. So you cannot drink sperm and then get pregnant. She will have to lie down for them to push it inside of her. So she knows what happened, which is why she is disturbed, more than disturbed about the matter, saying she is not a child and she knows life. And above all, know that a woman cannot have a man with her. She's saying and has the belief what we believe right now, that a woman cannot have a child without the contact of a man. She said it. This is receipt, this is document, fact. I know that at the time I was not in the company of any man. I cried much. I did not know who would help me. A child, it seemed to me, could not come from nothing. The power of the black woman. Okay, family? The power of the black woman. Now, how is parthenogenesis possible? Science, let me see if I have that on the next slide. I don't even have it on the next slide. Scientists discovered that you can use the bone marrow of women to create sperm. This is off topic. It's not really off topic, not on my slides. But if you go and research Daily Mail, I believe it is, UK, the Daily Mail website, there is an article that says scientists can now make sperm from the bone marrow of women. So what are you telling me, family? Is this far-fetched? I don't think all these ancient ancestors, okay, have gone cuckoo. They were onto something. This right now here, through the evolution of time, we're just going down into it scientifically. You understand? Now, how is parthenogenesis possible? The Bartholin glands are located on each side of the vaginal opening. Okay, they're about the size of a pea. They produce fluid that keeps the vagina moist. This fluid travels to the vagina through ducts, through tubes, right? If they became blocked, the fluids can back up in them and this forms a swelling, a cyst. This is why most times a lot of these glands, one or probably both of them sometimes, are blocked. It was this fluid from the Bartholin gland, okay, that carried the semen-like substance to impregnate the woman, family. Okay? Now, remember I said, it was quoted by Dr. Delbert Blair that in 1975 the vibrational device was attached to an egg, and after a time period it produced a rhythmic beat. The thing is, the vibrational device, right, lets off a sort of frequency of vibration is sound. Within the electromagnetic spectrum, we have a type of radiation which is called radio waves, which is sound messages. Okay, so radiation, light in itself, at the proper frequency, carries chemical energies and hormonal energies, family, which is why, okay, within every 2,000 years, when the sun is traversing these different constellations, we get different energies on Earth. This is astrology, because astrology is the study of the movement of stars and planets and how they actually have an influence on events and people's lives within this third dimension. So, this sort of prominence from the sun and from the particular constellation that it may be in, right, is having an effect on mankind. This is that radiation. The very same way the radiation can have an effect on the development of a cell of an organism of an egg, family. So I'm saying this basically to get to the point that vibration and radiation can start mitosis, family, which is the division of the egg cell. This is scientifically proven that the woman is God. Okay, she is God. Now many will say, which one? So, okay, so you tell me that so how women today not giving birth? How women today not giving birth by themselves and then kind of thing? Huh? No parthenogenesis. For one, I will say the condition, okay, the condition of the environment and of the planet, the earth in itself doesn't produce and is not at its optimum, okay, for us to basically reproduce in that way. And secondly, some women do actually still have that function, right? Some women, most women actually get two forms of cysts, okay? Two forms of cysts. They have the dermoid and the follicle cyst. But we're going to concentrate on the dermoid cyst, okay? Now, dermoid cysts are an abnormal growth of underdeveloped cells, okay? Residual embryotic cells, family, which have begun its first and second trimester of fetal development. And as a result, it can contain epidermis, which is the top layer of your skin. It can contain hair follicles, and in most extreme cases, you get teeth, limbs, and even heads. Now, these are cysts on top of the uterus, on top of the ovaries, the fallopian tubes of the woman. Okay, these cysts, and these cysts are not only found or evident in sexually active women to come and make me feel like, okay, well, it's probably the sperm and then the egg got in properly, so it go there. No, it doesn't only happen in sexually active women. And these cysts have teeth, they have hair, they have skin, showing that they were already on their way, okay, to develop into that being family. Yes, it's abnormal because I mean, obviously, you think you have teeth here, but you're getting hair, you're getting skin, you're getting hair. Come on now. Huh? Isn't that involuntary parthenogenesis right there? Huh, family? Hmm? You know, if the woman wanted, if the woman could decide what baby she wanted to have, you know, she could wipe out mankind, man in itself. You see, but we want to shade it up in the jail. A woman can have that mind power to know what kind of. So why when they say, where it is said, when a woman pregnant and she don't get the food she wants and she scratch one place, the baby get in a birthmark. That is the power of the mind of the black woman. You get me? So parthenogenesis, which is scientifically the way that a woman has that asexual attribute, which we can see is present within nature in itself, is her way of being that reproductive aspect. Now, we want to say, yeah, the man involved. Let me check the man level there. The man involved, right? As the title says, the sperm cell is only a spark in the conception process. Okay? It's only a spark in conceive, to conceive. Now, the first definition of conceive deals with the mind, to think, to create. It is the second definition that deals with to be pregnant and to give birth. Okay? So the first conceive is in the mind, also showing on the slide previously the mind of the woman. Okay? If she had to take control and take charge of that creational process, which I believe that she did at one point in time, man will learn to behave yourself. Man will learn to behave yourself. But anyway, since we want to consider the man into everything, okay, I'm not putting myself down in your family. I'm not putting myself down because my predecessor, who a woman gave birth to me. Right now, I feel like big man. I don't want to be by mommy again. I have my empress. I replace mother, the motherly principle, the feminine energy, with another feminine energy. You see what I'm saying? And I have two princesses. You see it? So I know what this is. I have embraced it. I mean, at first, the cognitive dissonance was bursting my ass, but I embrace it. So let us have a look at this now. For those who want to really say, well, yeah, the man involved, and think, yeah, so let's have a look. Now, even within the epigenesis theory, remember the epigenesis theory said that the spermatozoa is necessary for mitosis to occur. Where the sperm is the egg, about 80% of the sperm cell is detached. And that part which is detached from the sperm is the mitochondrial gene of the man. Huh? How about that? So this is why we can only trace the mitochondrial Eve gene through the woman, because the man's mitochondrial Eve gene drops off. So the 80% which drops off is the whole tail of the sperm, which contains the mitochondrial gene of the man. Okay, so that drops off. All right. Before complete entry into the egg cytoplasm, right, which is here family, right, the head of the sperm, yes, you men, you egotistical men, I'm speaking to you. The head of the sperm further divides itself by releasing the acrosome. So you already dropped the tail, you're going through with the head. The head still splitting to drop the acrosome, which leaves only the nucleus. Now the nucleus is more or less an electrical charge of energy to penetrate the cytoplasm. Now this electric charge of energy carries a vibration, carries a frequency, which is why that test in 1965 was even able to happen, which is when they attach the vibrational device to the egg. Okay, so the nucleus of the sperm, after all of that, the nucleus of the sperm is only really a spark in conception. That is what we mean by it, right? So a lot of indigenous cultures, the mythology always begins with a cosmic egg, if not the woman, which is how things came into being. This right here is the god Mithra within the zodiacs, the 12 zodiac, depicted in an egg as well. Okay, look, the egg, you see the egg break there, right? So the sperm cell on the previous side, the previous slide, the sperm, the head of the sperm looks like an egg. Every human organism is contained within an aura. Okay, our energetic field that sometimes can stretch within miles depending upon your state of spiritual consciousness, okay, and heightened awareness. Your aura is also in the shape of an egg. Okay, now the male testes, your balls, as men, your balls is in the shape of an egg. The earth in itself rotates on its axis, right, of 25.3 degrees, giving it a kind of wobble, right? If you have to trace the most outer regions of the wobble, you will still get an egg, family. I don't even know. I don't even. If this is not enough information, I just don't. Those of you that still on balance, I just show your balance is represented as a woman. Okay? But since you want to be on that egotistical, male chauvinistic vibe, like no woman, I don't know, woman thing, and woman. Because the woman is needed within all of this. Okay, you see all of that going on there? Just empower all women with this knowledge of self and see a change in the planet in 24 hours. Straight up. Okay? Now, there is no way that Eve could have come from Adam. Because right now we're dealing with things physically, right? So when we go physically, we have to go scientifically. And I don't think people think science is the white man thing, the root word of science just means to know. It's knowledge, it's not no guessing, it's not no belief. You need the research, you have the facts, and you know. So scientifically, man descended from woman. And woman, I spell woman with a W-O-M-B, not W-O-M-A-N. W-O is the prefix to the womb because she has a womb. So man descended from woman. Why I say that? Within chromosomes, family, the chromosome which represents the woman is the XX chromosome. And the chromosome which represents the man is the XY chromosome. The Y chromosome, okay, is a degenerate of the X chromosome. The Y chromosome, most times you will see it as the X chromosome, but with one of its legs breaking off. The Y chromosome is 5 times smaller than the X chromosome. I mean, you can see it right here. 5 times smaller and missing 2.8% of its genetic material. So what all of this is saying? Why you doing all of this? I'm telling you that the X chromosome is metacentric and the Y chromosome is submetacentric. Now somebody is still talking gibberish, you're still confusing me. In the alphabet, after X comes Y. Does that one ring a bell? Does that one actually make any sense? In the alphabet, after X comes Y. You still again it? The X was there first, and the Y came from the X, which is why the man contains certain organs that he cannot use. This is why you have breasts, but you cannot use them. This is part of your 2.8% genetic material that you are missing, and your womb is gone. Okay, family? Now, I believe I'm going into this a bit. Oh yes, I'm going. This is why I didn't really want to step on that. On that, I really want to put my foot on that step as if that I did remember I have a slide on that. Okay, so let's go into the defective gene visible in anatomy. During early development, the gonads of the fetus remain undifferentiated. That is, all fetal genitalia are the same, and we are phenotypically female. I still don't get what you're saying. Within the first 6 weeks, even though you are a man or a woman, within the first 6 weeks when your mother was pregnant with you, even though you are a man, you were first a woman, or you were first a female, you first had those female organs. This is what I'm saying. I believe that. I believe that. I believe. Okay. Probably you will believe that your balls, your testicles, is the woman descended ovaries now enclosed in your scrotum. And your penis, cow, whatever word you want to call it, is an elongated clitoris. Your male vas difference, which is your main vein, right, on your penis, when you have erection, you can actually see, is the amalgamation or the coming together, the combination of the woman's fallopian tubes that have come to one. And the male prostate gland is nothing more than a calcified womb, baby. And I just told you men have breasts and cannot use them. And I said earlier the male can reproduce himself, but the female can. I swear, man, I swear. You all the research, I never really see good. I haven't really seen it gone so deep, man. Shit, I haven't seen it gone so deep. What's the time, man? 10:30 already, I swear I just watched the time when it was 9:30. I was like, let me try and sit up there quickly. Right? So this is what I just said earlier. The development of the external genitalia. Right? The first 6 weeks, female, male. You see, family? You see? And within 10 weeks, closes up a bit, the clitoris now becomes elongated. You see, family? I'm not talking shit. I have receipts, I have the facts, I have the pictures. Okay? Let's go into the elements of superiority. The female body retains her youth characteristics much longer than the male body. Anyone can attribute, anyone can attest to that. Okay? Less women suffer from ulcers and hardening of arteries. We have more heart failure in men than in women. Okay? Women can hold the breath longer without deterioration of cell structure due to lack of oxygen. Because obviously, lack of oxygen, the cells need oxygen to thrive and to reproduce. So obviously, if you hold your breath, lack of oxygen, they will deteriorate the cells. But that rate of deterioration of cell structure has been found to be less in women than in men. Facts. Women at optimum health can withstand cold and heat better than men. The female brain is more complex than a male. It contains more gray matter, and the gray matter within your brain is kind of like the let's say it's sort of like the internet, okay, where you have all these different websites just under one tab. You can just type it in. This is like the gray matter in the brain. It connects all the different compartments of the brain together. So there is more of that gray matter in the female brain than the male brain. Okay, and during childhood brain development, the female child is always superior to the male child. And this changes at puberty due to menstruation as they lose a lot of blood. And this blood contains the anatomical building blocks in the form of chemicals and nutrients which are necessary for proper brain development. So this is why, after menstruation and puberty, you'll find probably some females just starting to decline in their work and getting a bit weak. And that is why men have more strength than women. because women lose blood every month. You see, if women wasn't losing the blood every month, women would be psychic to say the least. You understand? Be able to predict reality and form nature, and form the reality, how they see fit. You see what I'm saying? But because that blood, not under the blood of Jesus, under the blood of the black woman, that's the blood that knows that nourishment is responsible now when men would like to say, oh, but we have more strength and we have to check for them. It is that. And she is shedding that for you. Okay? Not no Jesus come to shed his blood for you. No. 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 Wipe that out. Wipe that out. Wipe that. Okay? Stay out. So the creator and the sustainer. It says it itself, you know. You see itself? The creator and the sustainer. Universe pregnant with the earth. Mother pregnant with the sun. So all the praying and the praying, P-R-A-Y or P-R-E-Y, whichever one. The etymology and the science of words, vowels are interchangeable to get to know the origin of the word. So I can interchange the A and the E. So when you pray, you basically pray out there for all the hunters, the energy vampires, you know. Yeah. So we'd have to say the affirmation. But since many people are familiar with the word prayer, we're going to use the word prayer. So when a child is born, and the child needs something, or is not feeling well, or the call for help, because I mean that's why we pray most times, right? When a lot of people do only pray when things work for them, so they already just give thanks to them. They already give thanks. So the call for help from that baby is the first prayer ever. Okay? So be it when the baby just born, be it when the baby wants something, the baby hungry and the baby cry, is for the not for the father, you know. I mean, big up all these single fathers doing what they do still, you know. Yeah, most times we don't really give the single fathers and those fathers that co-parenting, that really going out of the way, giving them the props still, you know. So I big up the fathers still, but again, we're not speaking about the man, we're speaking about the woman. So the first cry for help, the first cry for an entity, physical or spiritual or whatever have you, to help me with that what I feel in there, is the first cry to God. So when the child is hungry, that nourishment, okay, that fluid, where the fluid name is responsible, that nourishment is responsible for the sustenance of that child, which is why the black woman, being the God, is the creator and the sustainer. Okay? And you, being her offspring, being a prince or princess, god or goddess, you, the first throne you will know is your mother's lap, which is why we can see within ancient Kemet, the god King Pepi II made them do that sculpture with him on his mother's lap family. I don't know what more to say there. I don't know what more to say there. And obviously, we went through the whole process of the creation of the world and the earth and everything, and even humankind, and obviously everything have to come to an end. So when our ancestors came to that point of transition, they were what they refer to as mummified. So they made them into mummies. What is a mummy? For my family that don't know, a mummy is a deceased human or an animal whose skin and organs have been preserved by either intentional or accidental exposure to chemicals, extreme cold, very low humidity, or lack of air, so that the recovered body does not decay further if kept in cool and dry conditions. Our ancestors mummified the dead. Okay? So mommy just means to wrap up, to just preserve the body. Okay? Now, I don't even have to tell you where the word mommy comes from. Mama. And we have a thing saying in the Lucian tongue, mama is mama. I'm going to tell you she's not here. So you see what I saying? So through the whole process, all our anthropomorphic representations, okay, of that divine energy, the first creation have all been that of the divine feminine energy family. The Black Woman is God, right? I might somewhere wait for a man who looks to be saying that, you know, I thought you were supposed to be on still thing and get right there. You know. I've done for all the steps that I'd go through still to reach this level of awakening within myself. You understand? But to embrace that, even what Rastafari is presently, is part and parcel of the monotheistic concept of that superiority of the male deity over the feminine aspect. I can see that it is not related to our ancestral African understanding of spirituality, and hence I have to sidestep. Doesn't mean I've tossed away certain principles and lessons learned, but within the development of self and the knowledge of self, we have to go from involution in circles, involution in cycles, to evolution in spirals. And I end with a biblical quote for the Christian brothers and sisters, Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, where God of Israel is saying that before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. God is saying this. So people will say, oh yeah, but it's God that put the child in the womb, and it's God that have the child in the womb. Really? This kind of talk here, you're not saying it's a woman that talking to the child, like she prayed and then she talking to the child, and before I have you in my womb, I knew you already. Which I get. So this, if this is the saying of the deity of the monotheistic religion, that just goes to show there is a hidden underlying understanding in this whole thing, family. Okay? Which is a divine revolution and revelation within this age of awakening, that the Black woman is God. Okay, family? Simple as is. I give thanks for all those who stayed and watching the presentation. I hope you enjoyed the thing. Let me see if I can stop sharing for time there.